Recording in progress. I don't know if you could hear that. Okay.
Yes.
Well, okay. Welcome to our paper pumpkin class. I'm Brenda Miller. I'm a demonstrator in New Jersey, and this is a Zoom class. I have a bunch of people on the Zoom call, but we're going to go ahead and record this for those who couldn't make it. I did have some people ask me to this time. So that is another reason why I'm recording it and putting it on my Facebook page. So if you're new, welcome. And we'll get started. So what I'm going to do is take it off of me, and we're going to look at my desktop where all the exciting stuff happens. So here we go, Paper Pumpkin. This is the pick of the crop kit, and we go ahead and open it and we see what we have inside. So we have this wonderful stamp set. Check out that hello. Isn't that great? I could see using that all the time on cards, just in general. Always good to have some extra sprigs here. We got a strawberry and some blueberries and some very nice sayings. And we'll be using some of them on the cards that we get, that we're going to be making. So we also have a Calypso Coral Spot. Those of you who have been doing Paper Pumpkin for a while already have one of these. I'm actually going to use one myself from a previous kit, but it's always good to have an extra, right? And then we have, this is just an advertisement showing the little bag that comes in this kit is also available. You can purchase 3 more, you can purchase packages of 3 additional ones should you desire them. And then this is a little preview of next month's class. I am totally obsessed with this little bottle thing in my classes tomorrow. You'll see we'll be using them. I have a whole class next week, Bottled Happiness, that some of you are already signed up for. And I'm very excited that we're going to be doing something. It looks like it's going to be beachy for next month. So good to have. Now, just notice there's a little barcode on here. If you're interested, you can do this little survey. Actually, what do they call it? Like a little quiz, and it shows you some things that are in the kit. So it's very fun to go out and do that if you have a moment. So anyway, let's see the advertisements for today. Yay. Okay, so let's get our package out and we can open it. So you girls are probably ahead of me already, got it all open. But this kit, it's a little bit different than what we usually have. Just a little bit. We have our dimensionals, take them out. We have a little bit of twine, and we have this adorable little canvas bag, which can be stamped on or not, but conveniently it holds cards, right? You can put your cards in there when you're done. Now, as we get into this, you're going to find that there are so many die cuts, so many die cuts. We have so many extras to work with. And I think that one of the reasons that they did that is that there's no bling. I know. We have a little twine, but there's no bling, no shiny stuff this time. But that's okay, because we have lots of die cuts. So anyway, this is our first set of die cuts. You see there are 5 sheets and there are only 3 cards. Okay, so you can tell already that there are lots of extras. We have fun envelopes. What's nice about this, even though the outside is dark, there's a light space where you can write, which makes it much more amenable to the post office. And check out the inside. Woohoo, we got our pink and white stripes, which are always fun. And you know, I'll be cutting those up to use them. Then we have our card bases. So we have this one, and then we have this one, which is a nice, this can be used for a lot of other things. I actually did on my alternative projects, but this is nice for a background for lots of different things. Kind of like the New Horizons that we no longer have because that was in the mini. And then this fun little stripe and check. It's supposed to, I think, look like a tablecloth, like for a picnic, something like that. That's kind of the idea. So we have those, and then I want you to make sure that you notice there's 1 sheet of vellum cutouts, okay? There's just 1 sheet of those, so don't lose that. And then we have lots more die cuts. Check it out. We have, let's see, 2 sheets of these. And again, there are only 3 cards. We only use one thing on each card. And then this one also, I just love this little cart that they have, and lots of flowers to go with it. So that being said, those are our pieces, and just don't forget that in the very back are your little dots that you can use if you're using, if you don't have your regular adhesive, okay? I always put those aside. And then of course we have our instructions. So as we usually do, let's go ahead and break out the paper and die cuts into the 3, what we need to make one of each of the cards. So they conveniently put this together for us now that they do this regularly. For card number 1, they are considering card number 1. Whoops, sorry about that. One with this background. So take one of those out. Okay. And then just make yourself a pile to the side of all the extras. So that is card number 1. Card base number 2 is the one with the stripes. And then card base number 3 is the one with all the fruit. Okay. So those are our card bases. Now let's go through the extras and put them in the appropriate pile. This is the only way I can work in such a small space, is to get everything laid out. And I'm gonna push these aside. Hang on one second. I'm just gonna raise this up just a little bit so that we can have a little bit more room to play with. Okay, here we go. All right, so if you pick up the last one we put down of die cuts, so that is the one that has the fresh freesia flowers and the little cart, and go ahead and punch out one of the carts. Now, let me just show you the reason we're going to do this one first is because the wheels actually have spokes, and I want to go ahead and take the minute it takes to punch out each of those, okay? And the reason for that is when we're ready to use it, we don't want to have to stop and punch all these little guys out. So let's make the mess now and take them all. They should just pop right out for you. Of course, I have one that's sticking, which is I'm on the camera, right? But they come out pretty easily. And that just makes it a little bit, a little more detail on this little cart, which is just so pretty. Now imagine if you were stamping this. Look at all the color on this die cut. That's something we really, I wouldn't do it in a class. It would be just too much, too many things that people would need to work with. So it's so nice that they pre-do these. Not that we have a stamp that looks like this because we don't, but in theory we could. And it's just nice to be able to have it right here. Okay. Go ahead and get rid of all your little pieces. I, of course, don't have a trash can, so I'm going to probably throw it on the floor. All right. That's what a vacuum cleaner is for, right? Okay. And once you get it out, this is going to go with the background card. Okay. Card number 1. Now let me know, how'd we do? Is everybody good with that? Did you get them all punched out? Okay, great. Okay, you're faster than I am. Let's go ahead and punch out just one of these sprigs of the fresh freesia flowers. And then we can put it aside because we don't need anything more from that. And this sprig is going to go on the card with the stripes, the second one, okay? Next, we'll move on to the sheet that has the bread on it. These are actually bread, in case you were wondering what they were. Let's go ahead and cut out one of the double breads. So it's 2 big loaves laying together. And this one also goes to the stripe card. We can punch out one of the little breads. We have lots of little breads. And just one of them, and that goes with the cart. Okay, so that goes on that first card. And lastly, we have the strawberry and blueberry. Just one of those, and that goes on our last card, the number 3, that has the fruit on it. And you can put those sheets aside now. That's all we needed from there. All right, we can move on to the next one. And this one has our word pieces and such. So you're going to take out one of each of these. So I'm going to start with the green one. It's a green little tag, a green outline tag. And this one goes with card number 2 right here. The one with the Blackberry Bliss, I'm going to call it, on the outside, the outline. This is actually like a pick what you would put into a flower garden, right? Or a bushel of berries, something like that. This one goes with the fruit card, so number 3. The cheese goes with the middle card. This goes with the bread. The long sentiment strip, we're going to put that one with the cart. And then we have the blueberries and strawberries together. Punch that out, and that goes on the last card with the fruit. So we used up that whole one, which is great. But we have 4 more sheets if you should need them. All right, and the last thing that we need to punch out is the vellum. Okay, and on the vellum, it's hard to show on the camera, but we have one that is a rectangle with a decal edge. I'm going to call that decal, even though it's a little clear cut. Decal is usually a little more random. This one is very symmetrical. I'm going to punch that out carefully, and that goes with the bread on the second card. And then we have the little picks. I don't know what else to call them. They have a real name. And that one goes with the last card. Okay. So we have vellum on 2 of the 3 cards. We also have our envelopes. I'm going to put all my envelopes aside, as well as the little canvas bag is going to go to the side. And I'm going to hang on to my ink pad and my dimensionals and my twine so that we can use them, okay? So we are in good shape. Everybody caught up? Everybody on board? Thumbs up, all right. Very good, great. Lynn, you good over there?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so let's go ahead and take cards 2 and 3 and just slide them aside, keeping all the pieces together. Or you may have a big enough workspace so you don't need to do that, but that's what I need to do. And let's take a look at our pieces here. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to fold our card base in half and give it a good crease. Normally I would use a scoring bone, but they are already on the tables set up for tomorrow's classes. So I don't have one in here. So I'm just going to use my fingernail. That always works. And let's go ahead and stamp our first stamp. So the one that they use on this one is the only long one in the set. And it says, easier to show on here, it's right in the center, and it says, "You're the pick of the crop." You're the pick of the crop. So that's one right in the middle, above the hello. The long piece, and I'm actually using my little Stampin' Spot because my big ink pad, I know we've talked about this, but it has the little crystals on it, which sometimes happens with some of the ink pads. And so I just thought it would be easier to use the little spot for today rather than dealing with the crystals, which really isn't a problem, but or the camera. It's easier. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and ink it up and then just stamp it across the long label. That's really all we need to do. Well, now we get to just assemble, which is so lovely. Always easy. Let me see if I have some here. I'm working down my regular dimensionals. You all have your own packs. When you're ready, did everybody get stamped? Everybody good there? Okay, got some dots. Okay, great. We're just going to put some dimensionals on the back side of the cart because that's the first thing that we'll put down. And I'm just going to, I'm just going to use 3. And I think actually in the video, the official video that they had, I think they only used 3 there too. They tend to, you know, every demonstrator is different. They use different numbers. But I know that these dimensionals are very, very strong. So.
I think that it might be good to put them on the wheels so the wheels don't sag.
Okay, you can certainly do that. That would require little pieces of them if you want to. Let's see. So if I were to do that from Sue's suggestion, I'm just going to use the edge and a pair of scissors. And I'm going to cut just a little piece. And if you have the mini dimensionals with you, you can do that. I'm just cutting a little piece off the edge. You can see I use every speck of my dimensionals. Okay, so now we're going to take off the top, which I already did. I forgot I did it. Peel these, and this is just going to go really in the center of the card. Okay, so like so. That is pretty all by itself, I think. Once you have that on there, we can go ahead and add our label. And they just used regular adhesive or the dots for that. So I'm going to do the same. Put a little bit of adhesive on the back. And this they put over kind of in the front of the cart. And you'll see why in a second. I'm going to go ahead and get that to stick down. And if you have one, if you have a matte, silicone mat, you might want to use it, or just use the little dots to put the little piece of the bread. And they place the bread in front of pots right on that little ledge. That is all for this card. But they did all the work for us, right? They did that gorgeous background. They did some shading in the back. And they have all the colors on this very pretty card. You know, a lot of people, you know, we all try to use the different pieces differently to make our alternative projects, just to, you know, stretch the boundaries a little bit. But this one, I have to say, I am hanging on to all my little carts because I just think they're perfect just the way they are. I really like the cards themselves. So that's it for card number 1. Everybody good with that?
Yep.
Did we finish that? All right, excellent. Okay, so this is card number 2. So we're working with the stripes again. Not again, but I mentioned them earlier. Let me just open my page, make sure I don't miss anything. Those of you following along. I'm going to bring down our pieces that we have here. So let's go ahead, just to get it out of the way, to fold our card face, right? Like we always do. Scoring bone is always suggested. Or your fingernail, which I am doing today. Let's go ahead, as we did before, and stamp our label next. So this is the little tiny label. The stamp that they used on it was the one Thinking of You, which is along the edge. So it's in the top corner if you're looking at your sheet. Thinking of You, but of course you could use any that you want. And bring over my block. Ink it up, and it just fits in there. Fits nicely. Get our Thinking of You. There we go. So we're going to do the easy part next. Not that anything's hard, but this one has a couple of things on it that are a little bit more complicated. The first thing we'll do is we'll take our bread and we're going to use regular adhesive on the back, and we are gluing that down like so. That is how they did it. I'll show you so you can see. And then we're also going to go ahead and glue down the flowers. We want the flowers to come up towards the top. So it looks kind of funny in there now, but it will look great in 1 second. Okay, so the next piece is where we get a little bit complicated, just a little bit. We are going to use our twine, and they recommend cutting a 12-inch piece. It's kind of long, but it does make it easier to work with. But we're going to be wrapping this around the piece of vellum. And when I was saying that it was tricky, it's only tricky because the vellum is a little fragile, right? It's thinner than regular paper, but they want us to make a bow at the top. So you can see I'm just wrapping my twine around the piece of vellum. And then I'm going to put my finger here, or you can use your reverse tweezers as we've talked about before to hold it. But of course mine are in the box next to me. They're not open. I'm just going to go ahead and tie that bow. You just want to make sure that you're not pulling too hard to warp the paper. Okay, so I'm doing a very loose bow, and then I'm going to fiddle with it a little bit. Sometimes I find if I tie a knot first and then tie the bow, that's sometimes helpful. Sometimes I don't get the bow the way exactly the way I want it. So there we go. So you just have to be a little bit careful. And then I'm going to just trim my extra. So this is your end result. So it's supposed to look like a bag that you get maybe at a farmer's market that has flowers in it, right? Very little delicate. Okay. Now, they also tied the tag on, but what I'm going to suggest that we do is you're just going to string I use the right side of the twine and string it through the bottom of the tag hole. Of course, I can't put my head down closer. Hard time with this. The reason I'm doing it this way is because sometimes when you try to get that to get the tag into the knot, it can be hard. Also, there's another reason why I'm suggesting this. So go ahead and pull your string through so it looks like it's attached there. Okay, so it's coming through the card. And what we're going to do is put a little bit of adhesive down here underneath the tag on right on, you could put, actually, it's much easier to apply regular adhesive to paper as opposed to vellum. It doesn't really slide on the vellum. And the reason I'm doing that is because the way that this was designed, there really wasn't any place, there weren't very many places where you could put adhesive where it wouldn't show through. So this is my suggestion to get around that. So it still looks like it's attached, right? Because it's up by your bow. And then when we go to put it on the card to cover, so it looks like our items are in the bag, we can put adhesive right in that same spot. Okay, so you can see I'm putting it on the reverse side of the vellum, right underneath the tag. So that way, when I go and put this on the card, you cannot see that there's any vellum. Okay. And once you have that done, then we're going to go ahead and, then we're going to go ahead and take our cheese, and I'm just going to use one dimensional on the back of my cheese, and I'm going to slide it under the tag a little bit, and then just adhere it down. Okay. And that is it for this card.
Brenda, could you repeat when you put the tag on the bow, what you did? I'm sorry, I was a little behind.
That's all right. So I tied the bow, and then I strung the loose end on the right side through the hole in the tag. And then actually I used regular adhesive, and it turns out I probably should have used a dimensional, which is easily fixed. I will do that right now. I'm just going to take a dimensional and put it on the back side of the tag, like so. And it just looks like it's tied on. Now, if you are good at tying bows and can do it with the bow itself, more power to you, but this is just my easier way of doing it. All right.
I remember a trick some long time ago where you can actually put a snip through the outside edge to the circle, and then just sort of slip it onto the twine.
Oh, yes, you could do that. Yep. Yeah, that would work too. And you could hide it just with the top of the bow. Yeah, I do what I can to, not have to tie things. I always say that God gave me 3 boys because I can't tie a bow. I'm getting better at it, but yeah, not my forte. So anyway, are we good to move on? How's everybody doing? All right, good, terrific. All right, our last card, super easy. I have a trick on this one too that I'll show you, contrary to the directions. But let's go ahead and fold, oops, get rid of that one and show our sample. That's what it's gonna look like. We're gonna fold our card, give it a nice crease. And then this one I thought was, they did a really nice job with this. They did the berries, the blueberries and the strawberries. And we're just going to use dimensionals on the back of this. So I should have had a stamp first, right? Because that's what I did before, but oh well. I'm gonna just go ahead and do it because it was just too exciting. You just put some dimensionals on the back and you just lay it right over on the card, and look at that. It just gives it that perfect 3D look, right? It pops off the card and it makes it look like these berries are in front of the flowers and the, what are those, peaches in the back? I don't know, lemons. Regardless, I just thought that that was great. Now, of course, we can always do that, but so much easier when they do it for us. Since we're doing this, let's go ahead and put our other berries on as well. I'm just going to use a dimensional on the back of this one. You can use 1 or 2. And this one goes in the bottom corner as if they're on the table in front of them. Easy peasy. So then we can stamp our little, okay. And this one they loved, they used the stamp "Love You" a whole bunch, which is adorable. Goes nicely with this, the card. Thinking, let's see, I gotta get the right one. So love you a whole bunch. Use our little spot again. Ink it up. Just go ahead and put that right in the center there. Now what they did with this, which I thought was clever, they gave it a little bit of dimension. After you stamp it, we're going to actually attach it to the slightly larger vellum piece. And they're just using regular adhesive to attach it. So put the adhesive on the paper, goes much easier. And then just put it in the center so it looks like this little vellum mat. Vellum mats are very popular right now, just so, I don't know if you've noticed that in your searches that you've done, but they're definitely very much in. Now here's where I have a trick. What they want us to do is take a 6-inch piece of twine, wrap it around the base of this pick and tie a bow. Well, let me tell you, I did it several times. It worked. I got it to work, but wow, how much easier is this going to be? Now you can decide how you want to do it, but I'm just going to pull out. I'm not cutting it off my my spool. I'm just going to tie a bow, just freehand. I'm going to get it just the way I like it by fiddling with it a little bit, still all attached here. Now, of course, if you cut it to the 6 inches, I'm sure you could do this just as easily, but I find it easier this way for me. I don't want my loops to be just so big. So here we go. Once I get it the way I like it, I'm going to cut it. So now I have a freestanding bow, and voila, I'm going to use one of the little dots that they provide us with. Okay, I'm going to peel that off. You know, I don't do this very often, right? That's because my glue dots are also in the other room waiting for tomorrow's class. And I'm going to pull off the little topper. I'm going to take my bow, and there it is. I highly recommend this because trying to tie it around this little teeny tiny base about sent me over the edge. That's just me. I don't do well with bows, as I've already said, but I just think that looks just fine. And then with dimensionals, you're just going to add that to your card, and they just put it up between the berries. I'm going to do mine on an angle this time. They had it straight. There you go. So the little bow sticks out. Balances the card. You have 3 different dimensional things. Lift it up. Makes it look nice. And that's it. Did anybody do the wrapping it around and tying a bow? Anybody try that, or did you all go for my easy way?
Easy way.
Easy way is better. Yeah, I think so. You know, that's why I'm here. I do it first so I can work out the kinks, right?
Bows are not my thing.
Yeah, me neither. I'm with you. I am with you. I'm fine with knots. It's just those little loops are hard. Okay, so while you finish up, I'm going to start showing you some of the alternative projects that I found and came up with. Let's see, this goes over here. So the first one, you know, there are so many extra pieces on this that I actually got to the end and had a card base that was left. So I just used the card base. I didn't do anything except stamp that beautiful hello. And here I have a very simple card. So you don't even have to go through all that extra crazy stuff, right? I know it seems like I'm cheating, but all I did was stamp hello in black. That's it. So anyway, that's my first one. The second one uses the berries from the stamp set. And I actually fussy cut them out, but it wasn't hard. It really didn't take very long. And then this striped paper, as we talked about, is from the inside of the envelope. Okay, so that's how I got that. I thought that was pretty cute. This one, same idea, except that I just used it as a background, the stripes. And then we have so many flowers left over. You can make a whole bunch of these cards. You can crank these out after you've finished your other ones. And all I did was add a little bit of cardstock, nothing fancy. This one, again, same idea, some white cardstock. I just put a layer to match the red. I just happen to have this Poppy Parade on my desk. So I just grabbed it and said, oh, this is perfect. We'll just throw that together. Nice and easy. This one, check it out. Look what they did for the bowl. Anybody recognize that? It's the canopy on the cart. Now, granted, as I said before, I don't want to cut apart that cart. I just think that cart is adorable by itself. But should you desire to cut apart the cart, and maybe you could also use the flower pots that are on there separately, but that's what you could do with the canopy. I just did think that was cute. Okay, the next one is just making just a fun fold on the front of the card. All I did was I turned the card inside out, right? So I'm using it this way. I scored it at 2 1/8 inches and folded it back. So then I did add the little bottle from the upcoming Bottled Happiness class. And now it looks like it's like on a picnic table or, you know, something like that. And then I just stamped a whole bunch of little blueberries over here. Easy peasy. And then this one I love. This was done, it's almost exactly what a one of the Artisan Award winners did with her kit. And I was like, okay, this is my style. It's got some layers. It's got the striped paper in the background. And it used that piece that I didn't have to use on that first card, right? That I showed you, the one without any stamping, without any extras, right? I just used it over here instead of putting it on this. So those are some of the alternatives. The other thing was 2 different things. For the bag, I went ahead and stamped on it. You can stamp on this. Now just know that when you stamp on it, it's probably not going to be permanent. However, I did use StazOn, which gives you a much better shot of it not fading and not getting too absorbed into the fabric. So that's what I used. And I just did the hello rather than trying to add any of the other things, but certainly you could add anything you want. But then I came across, which I thought was an even better idea, is just to make a tag to add to your bag. Okay, so this is just using extras. It's just the bread as the base, and then a flower, the strawberry and blueberry, and then the little tag that has the hole, and I just tied it on. So that made it a nice little gift. So you can put one of each card in here with an envelope. Boom, you've got a nice gift to give somebody. So those are all the alternative projects I had for this class. However, I did want to show one other thing.
I have one question.
Yes.
On the last card that you showed with the pretty pink and the stripes.
Yes.
What pink is that?
This is Blushing Bride.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It took me a while. That's what the color is here in the stripes. I thought at first it was petal pink, but it wasn't. It's definitely Blushing Bride. Thank you for the question. So at one of our team meetings a while ago, one of my demonstrators showed us what she does with her stamp sets. And I had ordered the pieces that I'll show you in a second for both me and for Beth. It was Beth's birthday. And so this weekend we finally got together to put together our book. So it's just one of our scrapbooking binders. And in it, we took each of our stamp sets, we slid them into the pocket, okay, and had first stamped all going the right direction, the same direction, so that we could actually see what's in the stamp set. And it makes it so much easier to go through and say, oh, I know I've got a butterfly. Here's one. Okay, let's see, do I have any more? And I could just go through. The same thing with leaves, the sentiments especially, right? This one is from, I love this one. And I just realized that I have a second one of those if anybody wants that. See, I have another butterfly here, which I probably never would have figured out had I not put them into this binder. And actually, I'm not quite done yet, Beth. I did not go back and do more, but anyway, that is just a suggestion. And I was just very excited to have mostly completed mine. So this binder, I don't know, I think it's still available in our catalog. And the inside pages though, the way that we sell them are an assortment. And I actually ordered these separately, but they're, you know, 2 up 6x4 pages. So scrapbook pages. So that is just another idea that I wanted to share.
Very nice.
So,
That's all paper pumpkin stamps?
yeah, this is just paper pumpkin
Very
stamps.
clever.
Yes, this is Allison Ephraim. She's the one who shared it with us at a team meeting, I don't know, 2 years ago. And I'm finally doing it. So, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I totally have to do that because they've been stacking up all over here. And I get 2 of each. So.
Brenda, would you explain again about the insert pages?
Sure. Where did I get them?
Yes.
Actually, I can send you the link. It is, oh, it's a very popular quick pocket scrapbooking company. Snap, Scrap and a Snap, something like that. And they're the 2 up pages. So they have
4x6.
Yeah, sorry?
4x6.
4x6, yes. And so you can get 10 pages in one packet. And this is actually, I thought I was going to get 2 sets of 10 pages, but it takes up a lot of space. But at least they're in notebooks. But I can find the link and I can send it to you. I just have to dig it out. And of course, I didn't save it, Beth. I didn't save the packaging. I didn't think of it. I think it's Scrap and a Snap, something like that. But yeah, and it's specially designed for the 8x8 albums. And like I said, we do carry them. It's just that we have an assortment of pages. So some pages have a larger photo, room for a larger photo. Some have smaller squares. So for this though, you really need it to be 4x6 to make it work. So anyway, that is all I've got for tonight. Anybody else have any?
It's quite a lot.
Yeah, I think so, right? You know, worth it. Emily, what'd you think? How'd we do?
It was fun. It came out so cute.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it's good to have a new face. You're welcome anytime, honey.
Thank you.
All right. Well, listen, classes, I'll see many of you tomorrow or Saturday. And if not, I'm sure I'll see you online somewhere or at another class. And girls, have fun on vacation. So,
Oh, we'll try.
oh yeah, I'm sure it'll be hard. All right, everyone. Thanks so much.
All right.
Thank
See
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.